Hi there, welcome back. This is part 2. However, I'm going to show you all the moulds that I've used in both part 1 and part 2 videos. So some of these obviously you won't see in this video because they're in part 1. If you haven't checked out and looked at part 1, why not head on over to our playlist and find part 1 and have a watch of that as well. Everything we've used in the video today and also in part 1 video will be linked in the description boxes of each of the videos. So here we go, 2 videos, second one coming up. These are the moulds that we're going to use. Now, all of these are from Temu. They are matte finish moulds. Now, that means that when you demould your cured resin piece, it's going to have a matte finish to it. It's not going to be glossy and shiny. Also using the beautiful Chameleon mica powders, which you all know I'm rather obsessed with at the moment. So this mould, can you guess what they are? Now, I think these are beautiful. These are all rather unique style Christmas ornaments or Christmas tree decorations, or you could have them for any kind of decoration, I suppose. But I do think these could be used for, these in particular, you could make them into a lovely, stunning pendant. Or you could have them on keychains, you could have them as keyring charms, handbag charms. Gosh, you could have them as part of a beautiful extra accessory for a bookmark if you still read paperback books or hardback books. I know a lot of people read the audio style books now, don't they? They have those. Or on a tablet or something like that. But these are stunning, and I was fascinated by ballerinas and ballet dancing when I was younger, and I still love watching ballet dancers now. They are so clever, so graceful, and so strong, believe it or not, that I just had to do these ballet shoes. Now look at this. This is Hogwarts crossed with Frozen for me. It's a moon, crescent moon. I think it's a crescent moon shape round the edge, and then like the castle from Cinderella or Frozen in the middle, and then you've got a few dragons, which is more like your Hogwartsy type thing on the outside. So those two things on the outside, they're not stars, they are actually dragons. Now there is so much detail in this mould. It's amazing, it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's gorgeous, and it's going to be quite fiddly to do. But yeah, so we've opted for this sumptuous glue, sort of silvery coloured Chameleon mica powder, and I love it, absolutely love it. As I've said before, if you've listened to me in part 1, I'm a bit obsessed with these Chameleon mica powders. I'm in my element when I'm doing this. The world around me just sinks away, and you know, it really is my happy place. This is a Tree of Life one. Again, apologies, a bit blurry there. It's rather gorgeous. Going to use this beautiful sort of golden reddy coloured, bronzy, coppery coloured mica powder for the middle. Beautiful. So this is the trunk and of the tree and the branches. These moulds that we're using today are from Temu, and everything, as I've said at the beginning of the video, will be linked in the description box. And if we can't link it, it's because either it's out of stock or yeah, it's just not available at that time. No discount codes, I'm afraid, for Temu currently. Not any current ones anyway, but they do, all of their products are very good. All the ones that we've ever dealt with and had and used, which have predominantly been for crafting, moulds and so on, have always been very, very good. But do obviously check the description box thoroughly first, check your measurements, check what it's made from before you actually put your order through. But they always have heavily discounted things on their site. So there we go. So just did a bit of tappy wappy to get rid of the excess mica powder in the mould, and look at that, already looking stunning. Beautiful sort of khaki greeny tealy colour there. Absolutely beautiful. And then around the edges of the mould, You'll have seen me use this in part 1 of these videos. We've got a gold, a very fine gold and white holographic mixed glitter that we've mixed ourselves, and we're just brushing it in around the edge of the mould and then cleaning it all up with a bit of a baby wipe. Look at this one. It's a mushroom house, or a fairy house perhaps, or pixies depending on where you come from. Fairies and pixies and imps and elves, all quite different. Some a bit more mischievous than others. Who does Elf on the Shelf? Anyone do that? We don't. Had we got very young children, we probably would. And Elf and what he gets up to with all his mischief and so on. But absolutely love this rather whimsical little mushroom house. So much detail again. And then next to it, beautiful Christmas tree. So you could, although these are separate, but on the same mould, they are completely separate, you could make them together and then put them, you could make a couple of the trees and you could mount them in a little box frame as a picture. You could paint the background. I mean, depending on what your ability is, you could buy a nice background and place them and have a bit of a 3D looking picture. That'd be beautiful. That'd make a lovely present for somebody. So there we have, all 4 moulds have now been done. Made up some T-Expert resin, that's just a brand of our choice at the moment that we use, 1:1 mixing ratio, and added in some of that fine white holographic glitter. Decanted some of it into the smaller mixing jug here, and then just carefully pouring it into the first mould. Now, because of the amount of detail in some of these moulds, I'm using my little, what I call pokey tool, which is a micro brush. Now, these micro brushes, I go on and on about them in the last few videos, but they're invaluable to me at the moment. A brilliant tool. It gets all the resin down into the little nooks and crannies, all the details in the mould, making sure that there are absolutely no air bubbles trapped anywhere. So we're going to do the same with this mould, with the mushroom house and also with the tree. Not very deep, these moulds either, I might add. There we are. I mean, they would make quite nice fridge magnets as well. So, I mean, if you've got, if you're making them to help a child, maybe, and then obviously you deal with the resin part, because I certainly would never, ever recommend a child under the age of 16 using resin. It's not recommended at all. Certainly not by us, and probably not by any of the manufacturers. It's just purely because it gives off vapours and fumes. You have to wear gloves, you need to wear a respirator mask, and you need to work in a well ventilated area. So don't have any young children around with you, or other adults, when you're making anything, when you're using resin. There we go. Unless it's an eco resin, and then there's not so many do's and don'ts. So there we are, we're just doing it, pouring it into the little tree of life here. Now, this is probably big enough that you could use it as a small coaster. So you could make 4 or 6 and you could give them as a present, rather than using it as a tree ornament or Christmas tree ornament or decoration. Rather lovely actually as coasters. But again, don't forget, they're not very thick at all. What you could do is make this and then use it to put in a round or a square, or even the fluted edge coaster moulds. I don't know if you've seen those. A fluted edge coaster mould, a very thin layer of clear, completely clear resin. Put your cured tree of life, or you could do it with this one as well, this beautiful castle with the moon and the 2 little dragons. Put it, when the resin's just started to go a bit tacky, almost completely done, then put it faced right side down, remember, onto the resin. Or you can wait till the resin's completely cured and then fix it down, maybe with a little bit of UV or some glue or something like that, and then go all over it, completely put in another backing colour of resin or clear resin, again, totally up to you, or maybe some with some glitter. That would look lovely. Then let it all cure, demold it, and you've got Yeah, you've got your resin piece within a piece. So you've made your embellishment to put in the coaster. Look gorgeous. Quite a few steps there involved, yes, but would still look really stunning. So here we go on the demold. I didn't wait the 24 hours because I'm impatient. But obviously you can wait the 24 hours. We've got some overspill here, as you can see, to deal with. Can you see it's come out? Sorry about the overexposure again there. That's the lights. Apologies. Lights in the kitchen. And again, my apologies for that. But yes, so we clean up the overpour, and I use it, whilst it's still soft and soft enough and thin enough to do, I just tend to go in and use a little pair of very sharp scissors I've got and just snip it all away. Look at that. So can you see the matte finish on these moulds? I just popped it on the back of my hand there. The matte finish is not to everybody's taste. I'm not all that keen. I mean, the pieces still look lovely, but I'm not all that keen. And look at that. I mean, that is like, it's odd, isn't it? It's like a reddy, goldy, pinky colour. But the amount of detail is amazing. So yeah, we did trim up any of the overpour that's there. Now, trying to demold these bally slippers. Now, for some reason, I had an uneven cure. Now, I had this in part one video, because I did all of the mica powders and I did all of the pouring of the resin at the same time for part 1 and part 2. And for some reason, there's a large chunk there that's not cured. So I'm then thinking, am I ever going to get this out of the mould? And I know, in fact, I don't think this mould is any longer available unless they've had more stock in. There are similar ones on Temu that you can get. But I'm really just keeping my fingers crossed at this point that I am going to be able to get this out of the mould. I mean, yes, what I probably should have done is left it for another 12 hours and then demolded it. But yeah, I actually just put it down and I go on to another one. So I just give up. Look, there you are. Given up, and I'm going to move on to this one, which was the Frozen crossed with Hogwarts sort of castle. So we've got overpour on here as well, but that's okay. There we go. Carefully demoulding it because we don't want to detach our lovely little dragons there. Look at this. Now you could leave this as a matte finish. You see the beautiful blues where it's gone darker and lighter. I mean, those are stunning. So, back to the ballet shoes. And I have managed to tease it out of the mould. Lots and lots of overpour to deal with. But look. Oh, I'm just in awe. These are beautiful. If you can get a lovely pale pink mica powder, then you would have basically, as near as damn it, the real thing. But I went with this beautiful warm gold, and I'm now using the lovely gold metallic yellow, bright yellowy gold metallic paint. These metallic paints I did also use in the video, part 1 video, and they are from Temu, and they are such a well worth buying. If you're happy to do little extra bits of detail like this, then, you know, I can't recommend more that you get them, because I've never seen metallic paints as good as these. And we have all kinds of brands of paint from when we used to do quite a bit of paint pouring. There's next to no videos on this channel of me paint pouring, unless you want to look back to a very long time ago. And there's a brand called Deco Art Americana Decor Metallics. Cool, I actually remembered all that. And I bought their beautiful 24K gold paint. It is stunning, sumptuous, very beautiful. And I use it in paint pouring. You may see some paint pouring videos in the future. It depends. We've got lots of plans for the new year. A few home renovation pieces, furniture. So you might see some resin part bits coming into play there, perhaps. I'll have to wait and see. Another good reason to subscribe, to hit the notification bell. And why not give us a thumbs up while you're at it? So, here we go. We're decorating the tree. We're blinging it up a bit. So we're just painting in all of those lovely baubles with some different colours. And there's a star. I mean, the star looks lovely. So we've gone with some gold and silver. I mean, you could go with all one colour if you wanted to, or you can go for a mixture of colours like we have. But look at that. I mean, it's beautiful. If only our tree that we have at Christmas time looked quite as lovely as that. It tends to have quite a mishmash of baubles and all sorts. But maybe this year we'll go for a different kind of theme, perhaps. We'll see. So there we go. Just putting this beautiful, deep, rich cherry red on some of the baubles. And there you go. We also did a few bits in some green as well, and then put the metallic green just a little bit on the foliage. So I'm gonna do what I also did in part 1 video. I'm gonna coat them with some UV resin. Now this was just because I wanted them to have a glass-like finish, and because although the metallic paint looks gorgeous and you could just use it like that, or leave it just like that, I just wanted them to have a little bit more protection. Now if you don't want to use UV resin and you've got some spray varnish, you could just give them 2 or 3 coats of some spray varnish. Do make sure that you are leaving plenty of time in between the coats of the varnish so it can dry completely. But these, as I said, would make a lovely pendant. They're not too big. Handbag charm, if you know someone that does ballet dancing or loves ballet dancing. Handbag charm, definitely. Keychain or key rings even. They're gorgeous. In fact, all of the ones that you've seen in part, well, not almost all the ones in part 1, and most of the ones in part 2, you could also make, not only could you make them into fridge magnets and brooches as well, you could also make them into napkin rings. So if you've got just some plain napkin rings, some wooden ones or something like that, or just some that you want to upcycle, you could make these. You can make them all the same, and then you could stick them to the napkin ring. Oh my goodness, they would look lovely, absolutely lovely. Along you could have them as wine glass charms and all sorts. But here we go. Now I did decide to put a bit of the metallic blue paint on this one, because I mean, you don't have to, and with hindsight maybe I didn't need to, but I just wanted to give it a bit more depth of colour, a bit more depth, make it look a bit more 3D. And also because I just don't know when to stop. I don't know. Oh dear, Laura, sometimes more is not always more. But I don't think I've ruined the piece. You know, I'm really happy with all of the pieces that I've done in part 1 and part 2 of these videos. I'm really pleased with the end result. They were a lot of work, but it was so enjoyable to do these. It was so relaxing to do it that, you know, one minute it was sort of, you know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Next minute I noticed it was 6 o'clock in the evening. I just took my time and, you know, just got lost in the moment doing it. Now look at this, all the detail I put on the mushroom or the fairy house. You know, even the wreath on the door. Now here is the tree of life done as well. And as I said, I did go in afterwards and do the UV resin on all of them. Now look at this cute little house. It's beautiful. And these are all the finishing shots. Now this is the one I did go in with some gold. Now this isn't a particularly good shot of that one, unfortunately. And this is the only one I would say I probably wished I hadn't done any gold on. Here's the ballet slippers. So it looks a bit dark with the lighting there. They were quite difficult to film these. But they are super stunning. And the Christmas tree. So why not let us know which one's your favourite? Did you have a favourite from part 1? Have you seen part 1? What's your favourite from this one? And are you busy crafting for Christmas, making decorations, making presents? Why not let us know? Anyway, lastly, thank you ever so much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like, share and subscribe and the notification bell, and we'll see you again in a couple of days' time with another video. Take care everyone. Bye.